What is happening, everybody? Welcome. It is April. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting it's April. It is April 9th, 2026. Welcome to 4th and 25 with J Ram. I hope you are having a wonderful day out there. Hope you're staying safe. Hope you're doing well. Welcome in. And on this week's show, we got some stuff to cover. We had to throw some stuff together at the last minute, or the last few minutes, but wasn't sure if I was ever going to get this show ready. But anyway, we got our cup of coffee. I'm gonna get a swig of this. Ooh, nice and hot. Welcome in. So it's April 9th. It's kind of quiet, but Masters is coming up this week, in a beautiful Augusta National. If you're a golf guy, I wish I could be at a golf course right now playing golf. Um, NCAA basketball just finished up. The Final Four was this past week. We crowned our national champion on Monday night. Congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines. Um, NASCAR's, of course, on full swing, and we're in the heart of college baseball season now. And if you're in the NBA and MLB, that's your thing. But no, nothing wrong with that. It's just your preference. But here we talk college football. So let's get started. A little something I added to the show just this morning. The SEC announced yesterday the lineup for Media Days coming up in beautiful Tampa, Florida. July 20th through the 23rd. It'll be Media Days. Here's the schedule just released yesterday. Monday, you'll have Kentucky, Will Steen. You'll have Elijah Drinkwitz in Mizzou, Brent Venables in Oklahoma, and Josh Heupel in Tennessee. That'll be day one of Media Days. Day two, we'll have Clark Lee in Vanderbilt, Alex Gowesh in Auburn, Kirby Smart in Georgia, Shane Beamer in South Carolina. That's day two. Day three, you'll have Alabama and Caleb DeBoer. You'll have John Summerall in Florida. You'll have Pete Golding in Ole Miss, Mike Elko in Texas A&M. And then on the final day of Media Days, you'll have Ryan Silverfield in Arkansas. You'll have Lane Kiffin in LSU. You'll have Jeff Levy in Mississippi State, and Steve Sarkisian in the Texas Longhorns. And that'll be the final day. All right, but still 3 months away, but believe it or not, these days go by quick. Before you know it, we'll be watching Media Days or talking about Media Days. So be prepared. Coming soon. Coming soon. Let me share something real quick. I'm going to share this to a group. I'm sharing the show. My apologies. This might take a second. All right. So anyway, there we go. So that's your Media Day schedule. All right. So on today's show, who is my top five coaches currently in the Southeastern Conference? Also did the Big 10, so we're going to jump into that. We're going to start with, we'll do the SEC. So I thought about a few coaches, but I ended up coming with a top five. This is going to be controversial, probably a few of these, but number one should be a no-brainer, in my opinion. So who's my number five? Number five, I decided to go with the man who has took Rocky Top and made it better. At number five, I've got Josh Heupel. 73 and 28 at UCF and Tennessee. His bowl record is 3-4, but he did lead UCF to the 2018 American Championship and the East Division that year. He took Tennessee to the college football playoff in 2024 with a 10-win season. They were ousted in the first round, but he did get them to a playoff appearance. He was the 2022 SEC Coach of the Year. His recruiting is really good. Tennessee has been doing a solid job on the recruiting trail with him. 6 top 22 classes in Knoxville. Also, doesn't work the portal as much, but he will get guys. 2 top 30 portal classes. Now, they did backslide this past year a little bit, going to 8-5 after the bowl loss to Illinois. But program's on better footing. Now, they are, of course, we'll see who their quarterback's going to be since Joey Aguilar's eligibility waiver was denied. I do love the addition of Jim Knowles as his defensive coordinator, and they did bring in some guys from Penn State with him. So I think Tennessee's in a good spot right now. Now, there has been supposedly some trouble behind the scenes, but I don't know that. That's just hearsay. But anyway, Josh Heupel is my number five coach in the Southeastern Conference. Number four. Oh boy, this might get me some backlash, but I don't care. Number four, of course, everybody's favorite drama queen, Lane Kiffin at LSU. 116 and 53 record as a coach at Tennessee, USC, Florida Atlantic, and Ole Miss. He's entering his first year, of course, at LSU. 4-4 record in the bowl season. In Florida Atlantic, he won he led the two Conference USA championships and 2 division titles that same year. There was one losing season in there in the middle, but he did have 2 double-digit win seasons in 3 years. He only was at Tennessee, of course, for 1 year, going 7-6. Y'all know how that ended as he took off to USC, and that chaos happened. Then he went to USC, where he was 28-15, 17-12 in the Pac-10. Had the Trojans ranked number 1 at one time. Was fired on the tarmac, if you remember, after a bad loss to Arizona State. But then, after a little time in Tuscaloosa under Nick Saban, he came back to head coaching. And at Florida Atlantic, 26-13, 18-6 in their conference, 2 conference championships. And then, of course, here more recently in Oxford as Ole Miss's head coach, he went 55-19, 32-17 in the SEC, 4 double-digit win seasons, and works the transfer portal, of course, as great as anybody. He had 4 portal classes at Ole Miss that were all in the top 5. His 2026 LSU, his first portal class at LSU is, of course, number 1. Phenomenal class. Obviously, $40 million will help you get that, but you get it. He had 4 top 25 classes at Ole Miss in the recruiting trail, and his first LSU class was number 11. Look, great coach. Say what you want about the guy himself. Trust me, I'm an Ole Miss fan, so you know how I feel about him, like a lot of us do. But look, he's a great football coach. I don't give him credit for taking Ole Miss to the playoff because he bailed on them, point blank. That's my opinion. I'm going to leave it at that. But anyway, my number 4 coach in the SEC, Lane Kiffin. Number 3, got a little bit of an issue here. Let me see what's going on here. For some reason, this thing ain't. There we go. Okay. Number 3, I'm going to go to Tuscaloosa and Kalen DeBoer. I've got him just ahead of Kiffin. I could see an argument to why he would be below Kiffin, but this guy's been to the playoff twice and nearly won a national championship when he was at Washington. 124-20 record as a head coach at NAIA Sioux Falls, which is in South Dakota. He also was a coach at Fresno State, of course, Washington, and now at Bama. 3-3 in the bowl games, 2-2 in the college football playoff. He took Washington in 2023 to an undefeated season. They were 13-0, and then, of course, they won the semifinal against Texas at the Sugar Bowl, and then he lost to Michigan in the title game. But a really great season. And then his other playoff appearance, of course, last year in Tuscaloosa, he took Bama to the playoff where they did win the first round. 2-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year when he was at Washington. This guy's record at Sioux Falls is insane. I know it's the NAIA, but I don't care. That's still a great record to give him credit for. At Sioux Falls, this man was 67-3 as a head coach, 49-1 in their conference, 4 titles in the conference, and 3 NAIA championships. After that, he went to Fresno State after some stops as a coordinator and other stuff. He coached at Fresno in 2020 and 2021, going 12-6, 9-5 in their conference. And then at Washington for 2 years, an incredible job with the Huskies, 25-3, 16-2 in their Pac-12, won a title, and like I just said, playoffs in 2023 where they were the runner-up in 2023 to Michigan when they lost the national championship to Michigan. And at Bama so far, not going to fit their standards, but, you know, Bama's got insane high standards. But he's 20-8, 12-4 SEC play there, playoff appearance last year. 3 top 3 recruiting classes in Tuscaloosa. He's done a great job recruiting still, and still strong in the portal. But anyway, first year was obviously a little shaky in Tuscaloosa as he went 9-4, but then he kind of redeemed himself a little bit last year, going 11-4, at least getting to the SEC championship and winning a playoff game. But there's no denying he will be under pressure this season to prove it and get Bama back to where Bama folks expect Bama to be. That's my number 3 coach, Caleb DeBoer. All right, number 2. Who's my number 2 coach in the SEC? This probably is easy to figure out, but I'm going to give that to Sark. I got Sark as the number 2 coach in the SEC right now. 89-50 as the coach at Washington, USC, and Texas. 4-5 record in the postseason. That's bowls and the playoff. He has 2 playoff appearances at Texas 2023, where they made the semifinals, losing to Washington at the Sugar Bowl. And then 2024, in the first ever 12-team playoff, they beat Clemson in the first round, beat Arizona State in the quarterfinals, and then they lost to Ohio State in the semifinals, which was at the Cotton Bowl, I believe. He had a Big 12 coach, 2 Big 12 Coach of the Years when Texas was still in the Big 12. At Washington, he was 34-29, 24-21 in the Pac-12. Left to go to USC, where he went 12-6, 7-5 in conference. He was sadly let go. Obviously, there was some bad life choices that cost him that job, it sounds like. I'm not going to get into full details, but if you know, you know. After some time at Bama and in the NFL and doing a few other things, he came back to head coaching in 2021 from Bama to become the coach at Texas, and he has killed it since he's been at Texas. 48-20, 30-13 in their conference games, 2 playoff appearances, semifinals both times, a Big 12 title. Took Texas to the SEC championship in his first year as the coach. They made an appearance in the title game before losing to Georgia. Phenomenal recruiting, 5 top 7 classes, 3 top 5 portal classes. And if you look at the trajectory, Texas, his win total has gotten better every year under Sark, pretty much for the most part. And Texas is rolling. Some say it's probably the best place to be in America right now, and rightfully so, because they've also got plenty of NIL helping and money. But he's doing a great job. Sark is my number 2 head coach. And then finally, let's get the no-brainer out of the way. Who is the best coach in the SEC? Kirby. I mean, come on. If you want to argue it, you can argue it, but I don't see an argument. I'll take a swig of my coffee. Anyway, Kirby's number 1. 117-21 record as the Georgia head coach. 848 win percentage. 9-4 postseason record, bowls, and the playoff. 2-time national champion, 2021, and that was when they beat Bama, and then 2022 when they just annihilated poor TCU. 5 playoff appearances at Georgia, 17, 21, and 22, and then 2024, and last year, of course, 2025. 2-time national champion, 4-time SEC champion, 6-time SEC East champion, 3-time SEC Coach of the Year. Unbelievable recruiting job. Every class has been in the top 6. 2 of them were number 1. Doesn't have to use the portal a whole lot because he is one of the best there is when it comes to developing high school talent. That's why they're so good at recruiting. But anyway, and a lot of people say he's the best coach in the sport. I am in that camp. So my number 1 coach in the Southeastern Conference is Kirby Smart. So, yep, here we go. There's one last look before we move over to the Big 10. As you see, Josh Heupel at 5. I've got Lane Kiffin at 4, Kalen DeBoer 3, Sark 2, and Kirby at number 1. I could see an argument to move that middle around, but number 1 I don't think's a no-brainer. All right, let's move on and keep this train rolling. Who are the best coaches in the Big 10? I struggle with this because there's 6 coaches that I have on this list, so I just did a tie for 5th. You might say, why'd you do a tie for 5th? I got to give some credit to longevity here, and you probably know who I'm talking about when I say that. So at number 5, I put 2 guys who've been coaching for a long time here. At number 5, and I see I'm missing a graphic already. Who am I missing? Oh, all right. Let's try something here real quick. Let me make sure because I see I'm missing a coach's picture real quick. Y'all just bear with me. Apologies for that. See if it'll add it for me. There it goes. Okay. Who are my top 5 Big 10 coaches? So in a tie for 5th, let's start with longevity here. Kirk Fernetz at Iowa. He's been at Iowa a long time. 26 years, 213 wins, 128 losses. Big 10 record is 134-91. Before that, many people don't realize it, but in the early 90s, he was actually the head coach at FCS Maine University for the Black Bears. Didn't do too well there. He was 12-21. But he's done phenomenal. He's done a great job at Iowa. 11-11 in the postseason. Say what you want about his offensive philosophy, but he makes up for it with with offensive line, defense, special teams. That's his style of football. Anyway, 2 Big 10 championships. I think those were but I'm not sure. 3 Big 10 West titles, numerous head coaching awards, 9 10+ win seasons. Doesn't recruit the strongest or the best or hits the portal as hard, but he develops guys. He's longevity, and he's made Iowa a great place. Still a very well respected program, and the fact that he's still going at where he's at now is incredible with the way the sport is. Anyway, one of my 2 coaches at number 5, Kirk Ferentz. Okay, so at number 5, also with him, a first-year Big Ten coach, but he's been around a while, and I'm very excited to see how this works, if this combo is going to work. Kyle Whittingham at Michigan. After a 20-year run at Utah, he was 177 and 88, 109 and 70 in conference play. That's, of course, a few different leagues that Utah's been in. Phenomenal record in bowl season. He's 11 and 6 in the postseason. 3 conference championships as a coach at Utah, a Mountain West title, and then 2 in the Pac-12. 4 Pac-12 South titles, 5 Coach of the Year awards, 8 double-digit win seasons. 2008 Utah team that he was the coach of, one of the best teams that you probably don't hear a whole lot about because they finished the season number 2 in the country, undefeated, and they beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. Yeah. And then also before that, the 2004 team went undefeated and beat Pitt in the Fiesta Bowl, which kind of led to the BCS Busters for those of you who remember that. I don't think he's going to be at Michigan for real long. I think he's kind of the bridge hire. I think he's going to lead to the next long-term hire for Michigan. But while he's there, this is going to be fun to watch. Love this hire. But anyway, he's my other number 5 coach, Kyle Whittingham. All right, next up, let's go to number 4, Lincoln Riley at USC. Look at me, come on, you got to give it at Oklahoma and USC alone. This guy's 90 and 28 as a head coach. Now, some will say he bailed out of Oklahoma to go to USC just to avoid the SEC. I'm not going to get into that debate. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Anyway, 90 and 28 as a head coach, 3 and 5 in the bowls, 0 and 3 in the playoff. Though this is the one thing that hurts him right now. He has not won in the CFP. He took Oklahoma to the playoff 3 times in the 4-team playoff era, but did not win a game. But look at the overall body of work though. 55 and 10, 37 and 7 in Oklahoma in Big 12 play. The guy won 37 out of 44 Big 12 games as a coach. 4 conference titles and 3 playoff appearances. Unbelievable job at Oklahoma. And look at some of the quarterbacks he helped develop. Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, for example. At USC so far, he's 35 and 18, 24 and 12 in conference. Phenomenal offensive guru. And USC just landed the number 1 recruiting class this past cycle for the 2026 season. So really good recruiter. 3 other top 10 classes also. He's a phenomenal recruiter, and USC's working the portal better under his leadership. So still a really good coach. My number 4 Big 10 coach, Lincoln Riley. Number 3, Mr. Dan Lanning at the University of Oregon for the Ducks. He lands at number 3 on this list. He's 48 and 8 as the coach at Oregon, 32 and 4 in conference since 2022. In their first year in the Big 10 in 2024, what did he do? They won the conference title. 3 and 2 in bowl games, 2 playoff appearances with Oregon these past 2, 2024 and 2025. Of course, they went 0 and 1 in the playoff in 2024, but then last year, of course, they made the playoff and won 2 games and in the first round and in the quarters before losing in the semis. Phenomenal at the transfer portal and recruiting as well. 2 top 5 and 5 top 25 portal classes. He works the portal as good as anybody. 2 top 5, 4 top 10, and 5 top 25 recruiting classes. Oregon is a phenomenal place to be under him. Players love this guy, and he wins a lot of games. The only thing that's missing, can he get Oregon over the hump and get this program what they really want, and that's that first national championship? We shall see. But he's one of the best coaches in the game. Dan Lanning, my number 3 coach. Number 2. I thought long and hard about this one. Y'all know who these 2 are. But I just got to go with what I think. Ryan Day's number 2. At Ohio State, phenomenal record, 82 and 12. 55-5 in the Big Ten. That's insane from 2019 to now. 5 playoff appearances, 5-4 record in that, 6-5 in bowls in general. Ohio State, of course, won the national championship under him in 2024. 2 Big Ten titles, 3 Big Ten East titles, 6 top 5 recruiting classes. All but one of them was in the top 10, and that was the first one. Not a portal heavy coach, but is very good at quote unquote sprinkling pieces in to help his roster. Like when he got Quinshon Judkins, Will Howard, that national championship team, plus Caleb Downs, too, for example. But obviously, the track record against Michigan was kind of sketchy. But, guys, this dude, he gets so much unfair criticism. The dude is a phenomenal football coach, has a great culture, and he wins. 82-12. My head coach was 82-12. I would never want to let him go. Anyway, number 2, Ryan Day. And my number 1 coach in the Big Ten, I think we know who this is. Google him. Curt Cignetti. I mean, come on. My God, look what he's done since he's already been at Indiana just alone. Curt Cignetti is my number 1 coach. 146 wins, only 37 losses. That is at IUP in the D2, Elon in the FCS, James Madison, and of course now at Indiana. At IUP, he was 53-17, 33-11 in their league. He made 2 D2 playoff appearances. Or I'm sorry, 3 D2 playoff appearances from 2011 through 2016. At Elon, he went 14-9, 10-5 in league for 2 years with 2 FCS playoff appearances. Then he made the move to JMU when they were still in the FCS. He went 52-9, 31-4 in their conference from 2019 through 2023. He had 3 FCS playoff appearances and led James Madison as they went from the FCS to the FBS when they transitioned to the Sun Belt. And then, of course, his 2 years in Indiana are probably the greatest 2 years ever. 27-2, 17-1 in the Big Ten. Only loss was to Ohio State, who they paid back last year in the title game. 2 playoff appearances in 2 years. Big Ten champion and reigning national champion. You heard that right. Just remember that. He won a national title at Indiana. Numerous Coach of the Year awards already. Not the greatest recruiting in portal classes, but he still gets good talent. And his portal class is 30th, 25th, and their most recent was number 9, so they're getting better in that department. And a scary death stare. Don't piss this man off. You look him in the face, he gives you an evil face. You're gonna confess to something that you probably didn't even do. Anyway, Curt Cignetti, my number 1 coach in the Big Ten. So just one quick final look. Top 5 Big Ten coaches. As I said, we had a tie for 5th because I feel like both of those men deserve recognition. Kirk Ferentz, Kyle Whittingham. I've got Lincoln Riley, Dan Lanning, Ryan Day, and Curt Cignetti. All right, so let's take our first break, and when we come back, we're going to jump into some quick news and notes, and then we'll get ready to talk about quarterbacks here in a minute. See you guys in a second. Hey guys, all right, real quick, I'm uploading some images for our next couple of segments. Excuse me just a second. I hit the wrong button. Y'all have to excuse me. I am sometimes very slow at this stuff. All right, let's see. 1, 2. All right, here we go. Make sure I got my graphics up. As we continue on, I've got a little bit of a slow computer here. Sorry about that. All right, guys, welcome back to 4th and 25 with J-Rim. So let's jump in real quick. I ain't used this in a while, but let's do some news and notes. All right, so we got some interesting little stories. We'll jump in. Let's talk about this one that even involves political stuff. President Donald Trump signed an executive order, this was last week almost, designed to limit how long athletes can play college sports and how often they can transfer. The order directs the NCAA to create rules that mandate college athletes play for no more than a 5-year period, allows them to transfer only once before they graduate without having to sit out a season. Very old school, Phil. These changes are scheduled to go into effect August 1st. A school that plays an athlete who doesn't meet these new limits could risk losing its federal funding. That's very interesting. These limits could, yeah, okay. The order also states that the NCAA should update its rules to create a national registry for player agents and create policies that prevent schools from cutting scholarships and other opportunities for women's and Olympic sports. Very interesting. The White House, in a statement, said college sports cannot function without clear, agreed upon rules concerning pay for play and player eligibility that can't be endlessly challenged in court. Interesting. Um, and then to close the story out real quick, multiple lawyers who work with colleagues and their athletes told ESPN they believe that judges would rule it unconstitutional and unenforceable if it's challenged in the courtroom. Trust me, I hate talking about courtrooms, but this is an interesting story. NCAA President Charlie Baker said during a media availability tour in Phoenix before the women's Final Four, he had not read it yet, but there's a bunch of things there that are pretty consistent with the things we've been talking to them and to Congress about. As we all know, the NCAA is a joke, so don't even really care what Charlie Baker has to say because his organization's a joke. Um, but yeah, okay. So that's kind of just a little quick rundown of that whole situation. As far as just my thoughts on it, okay, I'm glad they're trying, but is it going to be enforceable? Who knows? We'll see where that goes. All right, next up, let me make sure. All right, all right. Virginia gets some bad news in their quarterback room. Chandler Morris requested a primary injunction for a 7th year in the NCAA. A Virginia court judge denied it. So his college career is over. He's 25 years old. Probably should go on, which I probably can't say much since Trinidad got another year. He's 23, but you get the point. The 25-year-old sued the NCAA in court in February in an attempt to return for another year. The appeal was denied by the NCAA. Morris led Virginia to 11 wins in the ACC championship last year. Also played 6 years and started 35 games at Oklahoma, TCU, North Texas, and Virginia. Hey, Aunt Helen. Love you too. Appreciate that. All right. Our other story. This was interesting. Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark and a Texas Tech booster bickering over the Big 12 having Friday night football games. Yeah, it's a West Texas style showdown. Okay. So Cody Campbell, who is a prominent booster for the Big 12 and chairman of the school's board of regents, him and Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark got into it, and it was very interesting. Campbell recently posted on an October 18th game between Texas Tech and Houston is expected to be a Friday night game on Fox, taking issue with playing on a night that Campbell said was sacred for high school football. He's not lying. I mean, especially in Texas, where high school football is religion almost. Friday night lights are sacred in the great state of Texas. It's absurd that Big 12 and Fox would consider scheduling this game on a Friday night. I know that Brett Yormark is not a native Texan, but he's been here long enough to know better. Come on, man. That's what he said. And then Yormark responded and said Cody Campbell does not run the Big 12. Yep. And that's pretty much it. Wow. So, just my opinion, I get what Cody is saying here, and I kind of agree with it. Don't get me wrong. But what can you do, man? I mean, TV money is going to control that. They're going to have the final say whether you like it or not. Trust me, I wish we didn't play as many games on Friday night because high school was meant for Friday night lights. But what are you gonna do, man? Ain't nothing you can do. So anyway, that's an interesting little nugget to that story. All right, so let's get going and move on to our Lost and Found series before we get to our quarterback rankings. We're gonna do Lost and Found. So for this week, we're going to look at a couple of schools that play Big East basketball and I think baseball, but they don't have football. Let's take a look at the former football program of Xavier University, the Musketeers. Um, sorry for my cough. Sorry about that. Could not find a whole lot on Xavier, but I did find a few of these graphics. This looks like a picture from, I'm going to assume, the 50s, I'm going to assume. I'm not 100% sure, but anyway, this is a couple of their old graphics. Here's another one from a game way long ago, like Kentucky's old uniforms. But anyway, check out this helmet. This is a helmet from the pre-face mask days when they played. Big old X on the front of it. So anyway, Xavier football history, I could not find a whole lot. They played from 1901 through 1973, 72 years. Their games were played at a stadium called Corcoran Stadium. I hope I'm saying that right. 15,000 was the capacity at the time. Stadium was demolished in 1988. It looks like they were independent for pretty much their whole history. Only played in one bowl game. That was the 1950 Salad Bowl. Played in Phoenix, Arizona, where they were defeated by Arizona State by a score of 33-21. That was, or it looks like it was maybe one of their best seasons in program history, as they went 10-1. But anyway, like I say, it was hard to really find a lot on this program. I think they played Marshall the year in the 70s when Marshall had the tragic plane crash in 1970, I believe. But anyway, not a whole lot, but that is a brief look of the Xavier Musketeers football program. Gone, but never forgotten. Not going to lie to you, that X right there would look really sick on a silver helmet with a blue face mask, in my whole humble opinion. All right, so that's Xavier football for you. Our other school we're going to take a quick look at is if I can get my stuff to act right here. Sorry about that. All right, let's take a look at the history of the Marquette Golden Eagles, which they were actually called the Golden Avalanche back in the day. Now, this picture right here I found, it's my understanding they might still play it at the club level, but they just don't play it as a legitimate NCAA sponsored sport. It might be just a club level sport. But anyway, if they don't, this would actually be a pretty cool helmet. This would actually be an alright looking situation. But anyway, here's a couple of old shots from Marquette football back in their day. Really Navy in that picture. Let's see. Oh, I just realized something. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I completely messed up. Here's Xavier's head coaches that they had throughout their history of their program. Joe Meyer looked pretty good, 85-44. Ed Biles, 40-27. All right. Anyway, here's a look at Marquette football throughout their history. 1892 to 1960, they played for 68 years. Marquette Stadium was a 24,000 seat stadium they played in that was expandable to 30,000. Then they moved to Milwaukee County Stadium just before the program was sadly shut down. It was demolished in 1976. Looks like they were an independent from the majority of their existence. Only played in one bowl game. Crazy enough, though, it was the 1937 Cotton Bowl on New Year's Day in Dallas, where they lost to TCU 16-6. They had a 7-1 regular season at that year. But hard to believe Marquette played in the Cotton Bowl, and they don't even exist anymore. The program did produce 21 NFL players back in the day, including Dallas Cowboys defensive end George Andre, Redskins, Rams, Packers, Tom Bratz, who was a linebacker. He also played for the Cowboys, too, just to name a couple. But like I say, I seen this picture. I don't know if they might still have this sport at a club level, but it's not an NCAA sport. But anyway, that is Marquette football for you in a nutshell. Just like Xavier, gone, but maybe not forgotten. Also, here's their head coaches. I apologize. A little off today. So I'm drinking all this coffee. Cody Clark looks like an undefeated coach, going 6-0. One of their very last coaches, John F. Drews, didn't do too well. Looks like Frank Murray was maybe their most successful coach, going 104, 55, and 6 with a 648 winning percentage. All right, so that is our lost and found for the week. Let's take another break, and when we come back, let's do our quarterbacks, our top 5 SEC and Big 10 quarterbacks entering 2026. See you guys in a second.
To hate, Andrew Anderson, stating truth that just can't wait. Got a podcast, like a punch right to your face. College sports villain, taking it over the place. I bring the facts whether you like it or not. Dropping truth bombs, giving it all I got. They call me a villain. Well, I wear that badge with pride. Nothing but secrets they try to hide. Hard rock in my veins, rebellious to the core. I won't back down, won't take it anymore. The bad guy of the podcast world, that's me. Unleashing the truth, setting it all free. Unleashing the truth.
All right, guys, welcome back to 4th and 25 with J-Rim. All right, so who are the best returning quarterbacks in the SEC and the Big 10? Everybody's going to have their opinions. This is just mine. So what I did was I did a top 5, and I did one to watch. Not in the top 5, but you never know. He could surprise. Who knows? We get to November, he might be one of the best in the league. So we'll do the SEC first. My one to watch, he transferred, and he went to another SEC school. A guy to keep an eye on is going to be Austin Simmons, who's at Missouri, former Ole Miss quarterback. He played 17 games. He had 2 starts last year before injuries kind of derailed him. And then, of course, the Trinidad Chambliss magic took off. But at Ole Miss, he had a 59.8 completion percentage, 6 touchdowns, 5 picks, a rushing touchdown, 2-0 record as a starter. To his respect and credit, he stayed with Ole Miss through the playoff before he went to Mizzou. I think he could be the quarterback Elijah Drinkwitz needs. He's going to have some good players around him. One of his top receivers at Ole Miss, Caden Lee, went with him to Missouri. Amon Hardy's going to be his running back. Yeah. So this could be a very interesting offense to watch at Missouri in the fall. Now, we'll see how they transition. But quarterback to watch will be Missouri's Austin Simmons. All right, my top 5 SEC quarterbacks entering 2026. Some controversial ones, who knows? Depends on your thoughts and opinions. At number 5, I decided to go with Marcel Reed at Texas A&M. He's played in 27 games for the Aggies. He started 21, 8 in 2024. He has a 15-6 record as the starter. 61.6 completion percentage, 41 touchdowns, 19 interceptions. He threw 25 touchdowns last year alone, over 1,000 yards rushing. He has 14 rushing touchdowns, nearly 5 yards a carry when he runs. He does have his moments where he looks incredible and plays well, or he has his moments like the first half against South Carolina where he looked rough last year. But he's still a tremendously good player, and at the moment, he's going to be my number 5 SEC quarterback entering 2026. Number 4, let's head to a cat who's jumped in the portal. He is now in the SEC. He comes over from the Big 12. I think you know who I'm talking about. That's going to be Mr. Sam Leavitt at LSU. Transfers over from Arizona State, and before that, he was at Michigan State too. At Michigan State, he didn't play a whole lot in 2023, throwing 2 scores, 2 picks, 139 yards. And then, of course, at Arizona State for 2 years, 2024 and 2025. His 2024 season, of course, was absolutely incredible. Led Arizona State to the Big 12 title in the playoff. But in his 2 years at Tempe, he threw for 34 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, Don't know why his yard total is not on here, but anyway. Oh wait, yeah, I'm sorry. He 34 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 61.2 completion percentage. Also had 749 yards rushing and 10 rushing touchdowns. So there's dual threatness there with him. Injuries unfortunately shortened his 2025 season in Tempe, and he was lost to injury. Um, but he's a dynamic player when he's healthy. Could be a tremendous addition to run Lane Kiffin's offense. We'll see how that goes. It's my understanding he's not practicing this spring because of injury recovery. Hopefully that for his sake it doesn't haunt him, but we'll see. Still a really good player, and I think he'll be a good fit in Baton Rouge. At number 4, Gunnar Stockton. My number 3 SEC quarterback. Let's head up to Athens, Georgia, and the tough son of a gun called Gunnar Stockton, one of my favorite players to watch in the country. Gunnar Stockton, he's been at Georgia for a while. He's played in 23 games, 4 in 2023. He has 15 starts. All but one of them was in 2025. He's a 12-3 record as Georgia starter. He has a 69.5 completion percentage, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 500-plus rushing yards, 10 rushing touchdowns all last season. Dude is as tough as they come. A great leader. Dude will take a beating if he has to help his team win a football game. Very good quarterback. He's gotten better with more reps and experience, and defenses are going to have a fun time trying to stop that young man. Gunnar Stockton, my number 3 quarterback in the SEC. Number 2, here comes the controversial. Number 2, Arch Manning at Texas. He got better. Look, last year, I know it started out rough for him against Ohio State, but if you watched closely and paid attention, this cat got better and better and better as the season went on, and he was arguably playing as good as anybody at the end of the season. Arch Manning, 25 games played. He has 15 starts, 13, of course, last year. He's 62.3 completion percentage. He's thrown through 35 scores, only 9 interceptions. He has 14 rushing touchdowns in his career, 10 last season, 500-plus rushing yards. He also has a receiving touchdown, but one of the best in the country. He got better as the year went on, and I think he will continue to get better and will be there at the end of the year. Maybe Heisman discussion, I don't know, but I think he's ready to rock and roll in 2026. And then finally, my number 1 SEC quarterback entering 2026. Here come the bias claims. I don't care. Trinidad Chambliss. The young man is a phenomenal athlete, a playmaking highlight reel. Let's go back to his Ferris State days, 2021 through 2024. He played in 23 games, had 16 starts, 14-2 record as a starter, led Ole Miss to the playoff last season, all the way to the semifinals. 61.8 completion percentage, threw for over 3,000 yards, 31 touchdowns. Oh, I'm sorry. Ferris State. Ferris State was. I'm still in his Ferris State stats. I'm sorry. 16 starts there, 14-2 record. He threw for over 3,200 yards, 31 scores, 7 picks, 1,300 yards rushing there, 29 touchdowns. So he had 60 touchdowns at Ferris State, and he led Ferris State to a national championship in 2024. And at Ole Miss last season, a phenomenal breakout year. 15 games played, 13 starts. His record as a starter was 11-2. He took over at Ole Miss, led the Rebels to the college football playoff, all the way to the semifinals. Threw for almost 4,000 yards, actually 3,937, 66.1 completion percentage, 22 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, ran for over 500-plus yards, and 8 touchdowns. Dual threat, phenomenal player, will do anything to make the play happen. As you saw in the Sugar Bowl against Georgia last year in the playoff, he do anything he can to make a play happen. Phenomenal football player. He gets the distinction of being my number 1 quarterback in the SEC. So there's a look at it one last time. I changed it to could take off, but just keep an eye on is Austin Simmons at Mizzou, Marcel Reed at A&M hanging at 5th, Sam Levitt of LSU at 4, Gunnar Stockton at Georgia 3rd, Arch Manning 2 of Texas, and of course Ole Miss's Trinidad Chambliss is at number 1. All right, let's look at the Big 10 quarterbacks to watch. So we've got two number fives. Again, I think they both deserve recognition. But just on the outside, a quarterback to watch in the Big Ten for 2026, a transfer. This young man, this is Colton Joseph. You probably don't know him from Old Dominion. He transferred to Wisconsin. This dude is a dual threat playmaker. In 2 years at Old Dominion, he had 20 starts every game in 2025, one other game played. He had a 12-8 record. He took he took Old Dominion to a 9-3 season last year, throwing for 4,251 yards. He had 59.8 completion percentage, 32 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. He has over 1,600 yards rushing. He had 1,000 yards last year alone, 1,007 to be exact, 24 touchdowns. So in 2 years at Old Dominion, he had 56 touchdowns. That's insane. Like I say, he took Old Dominion to a 9-win season last year before he transferred. Did not play in their bowl game, sadly. But phenomenal football player. He has over 5,800 yards of offense and 56 touchdowns. So maybe he's the quarterback Luke Fickell needs for his offense. We'll see. But Colton Joseph of Wisconsin is my quarterback just on the outside of this list to keep an eye on. Okay, so I ain't gonna lie, this top five was kind of hard. So we decided to put two at five because I think they both deserve some recognition. First number five is going to be Rocco Beck, the Penn State quarterback who comes from Iowa State. Baller, winner, and he was at Iowa State from 2022 through 2025. He played in 42 games, started 39 of them, every game, of course, from 2023 to 2025. Won a lot of games there, 26-13. Threw for over 9,000 yards, 9,274 to be exact. 60.7 completion percentage. Threw 64 touchdowns, 27 picks, 499 rushing, 19 touchdowns. So he brings 83 touchdowns pretty much on his record to Penn State as he follows Matt Campbell from Ames to Happy Valley. But a really good football player, tough, good quarterback. I think he'll be fine. The other number five, let's head to LA, a quarterback that not many talk. I don't hear a lot of people talk about this young man, but Jaden Mavia of USC is my other number five quarterback. At UNLV for 2 years, he played in 14 games, 11 starts, all in 2023. 63.5 completion percentage, over 3,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. So 20 total scores in 2 years for the Running Rebels. He transferred to USC in 2024. So in 2 years at USC, 2024 and 2025, 24 starts, 30 games played. He started every game, of course, last season for the Trojans. 62.8 completion percentage. He has close to 5,000 yards. Let's see, 4,912 to be exact. 35 touchdowns, 16 picks, kind of a lot, but that's in 2 years, and 10 rushing scores. So he has 45 touchdowns while at USC. And if you throw in 65 total touchdowns if you put UNLV and USC stats together. Another good dual threat, solid quarterback, and he fits Lincoln Riley really well, as I believe this will be his last year. So that's my other number five. At number four, this is going to be an interesting one to watch, not just because of on the field, but behind the scenes. Devin Williams of Washington is my number four Big Ten quarterback for 2026 currently. In 2 years at Washington, he has 26 games played, 15 starts, all 13 games last year. Has a 9-6 record as the Huskies starter. He has a 71.5 completion percentage, 4,009 yards, 33 touchdowns, only 9 picks so far in 2 years, and 8 rushing touchdowns. So 41 touchdowns and 4,900 yards of offense in 2 years at Seattle. This will be an interesting one because, as you probably all know by now, unless you live under a rock, he tried to get out of his deal he signed at Washington to get in the portal because I think he was trying to go to LSU. But Washington threatened some legal action, so he ended up backing out and decided to stay in Seattle for another year. So, question here: does his teammates trust him? What is the locker room think of him? Is he going to be back on their good side? So we'll see how that goes in 2026. My number three quarterback in the Big Ten, This one's iffy because obviously he's going to have to change one facet of his game. But number 3 is going to be Josh Hoover, who's at Indiana now. He transferred from TCU to Indiana. While at TCU from 2022 through 2025, he had 36 games played, 31 starts. He has a 19-12 record as the starter there in Fort Worth. 65.2 completion percentage. He currently leads all active FBS passers, though. 9,629 yards. That's insane. That's a lot of passing yards. 71 touchdowns. Here's the concerning number. 33 interceptions, but the real big concern, 24 of those 33 have been in the last 2 seasons. He had, I believe, double-digit interceptions last season, I think. But anyway, 24 interceptions the last 2 years is very concerning. That's obviously the one question about his offense, about his play, but he also has 8 rushing touchdowns. If he can cut down on his turnovers, there's nothing he can't do, and Indiana won't be able to do in 2026 as they look to repeat, as obviously as he now takes over for Fernando Mendoza, who's off to the NFL. But Josh Hoover, really good player, just got to cut down on them turnovers. He is my number 3 Big Ten quarterback at the moment, entering 2026. Number 2, Dante Moore of the Oregon Ducks. He was at UCLA in 2023 and went 3-2 as a starter. 5 starts, 9 games played. He threw for 1,610 yards, 11 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. But at Oregon in 2 years, 2024 and 2025, he has 15 starts, 18 games played. He started, of course, every game last season, going 13-2, leading the Ducks to the playoff and all the way to the semifinals. So they actually won a couple of playoff games with him as the starter. 79.6 completion percentage. That's crazy. 36-14 in yards, 30 touchdowns, a couple of rushing scores. More of a passer than a runner, but still a really good football player. He'll definitely be another one to watch. He's my number 2 quarterback in the Big Ten entering the season. And number 1, probably no shock, is going to be Julian Sand at Ohio State, a former Alabama transfer, did not get no snaps at Bama. But in 2 years at Ohio State, he's got 18 games played. He started, of course, 14 of them all last season. He had a really good record going 12-2. Of course, they did not go far in the playoff as they lost in the Cotton Bowl to Miami. He had a 75.9 completion percentage, 3,694 yards passing, 33 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and he's got one of maybe the best receiving corps in America to throw the football to, including Jeremiah Smith. But tremendously good football player. He is my number 1 Big Ten quarterback entering the season. So here's the list one more time for you guys. Top 5 Big Ten quarterbacks entering the season. 1 to watch, Colton Joseph, or could take off, Colton Joseph of Wisconsin. I've got Rocco Beck of Penn State and Jaden Monvia of USC, both at 5 because I thought they were both worthy. Devin Williams of Washington is 4. Josh Hoover of Indiana 3rd. Dante Moore of Oregon is at 2. And Julian Sand of Ohio State is my number 1. All right. So that's our quarterback rankings. A couple of more news stories that I meant to share that were recent additions. Shout out to Tony Elliott of Virginia. He gets an extension as he will stay with Virginia through his new deal runs through 2030 as the Wahoo's coach. He had a really great season last year, obviously. This goes through 2030. He's going into his 5th year. He led Virginia to a school record 11 wins last season. And, of course, Virginia made it to the ACC Championship. They beat Missouri in the Gator Bowl. That was a really good job. Financial terms were not disclosed. Most recent contract ran through May of 2028, which paid him $4.4 million this past season. Really good coach. He's done a great job building Virginia up, and now, of course, he has a quarterback situation, as you know, but he's doing a really good job. All right, our next story, one other one. The NCAA is discussing, now this is, of course, going to be all sports involved, but, of course, football is a sport, last time I checked. NCAA to discuss a 5-year eligibility proposal. The way it would work, let's see. discusses potential changes to the eligibility rules that would incorporate age into the process. Blah, 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 blah. It is reported by multiple outlets. Okay. So apparently, okay, it would give the athletes 5 years of eligibility with the clock starting at the earliest of two dates, either when they turn 19 or graduate high school. There would be limited exceptions, but would not involve injuries, which has been a common reason for players to ask for extra eligibility. Still unknown is whether the rule would shield the NCAA from lawsuits. That's kind of funny. But anyway, you would have 5 years of eligibility, point blank. Pretty simple. So anyway, all right, that's your news. We've done our rankings. We're going to take one quick break, and when we come back, we've got our non-football segment, which is we've been doing country music, favorite songs by country singers. For our final for this week, we will do the greatest of all time. I don't care what anybody says. He is the best in country music. There is nobody like him. When we come back, we will look at my favorite George Strait songs. We will see y'all here in just a second.
It's on time, you can get to work by 9 and start your slaving job to get your pay. If you ever get annoyed, look at me, I'm self-employed. I love to work at nothing all day, and we've been taking care of business every day. Taking care of business every way. We've been taking care of business. It's all mine. Taking care of business, and I've been working overtime. Work out.
All right, guys, welcome back. All right, so what we've been doing every week for the last several weeks, we close the show with a non-football segment. I give you my top favorite songs by country singers. We've done a different singer every week. We've covered George Strait. Not George Strait. That's who we're fishing to cover. We've covered Kenny Chesney, Jason Aldean, Tim McGraw, Gary Allen, Alan Jackson, Brooks and Dunn, Laney Wilson, to name a few. So this week we're going to do the greatest of all time, in my opinion, the King, George Strait. This was the toughest list I've ever had to do. To try to cut this down to 10 songs is almost impossible. So there's a lot of great songs that did not make this list. But these are the 10 I decided to go with. And at number 10, you see Chill of an Early Fall. As a guy who loves fall, this song gets me in the mood to think about fall when fall's coming. It's my favorite season. But really good song, good meaning. Number 9, Nobody in His Right Mind Would Have Left Her. Kind of a sad song. Really good beat to it, though. Good song. Number 8, Oceanfront Property. Classic. Number 7, The Chair. This is just how good George Strait is. The man could take a song about a freaking chair, and it went to be a number 1 single. That's just how great he is. That's how good he is. Love Without End, Amen. A great song about kids and their fathers and how great a dad's love truly is. Because I'm blessed to have a great dad. The song makes me think about him. Number 5 is Carried Away. A really good song, good beat. Number 4, Carrying Your Love With Me. Great song, love that one. Good music video if you've ever seen it. Number 3, of course, great song to play if you're at your wedding or something. I Cross My Heart. Beautiful song. You remember the original movie Pure Country with George Strait in it? It's a classic. Number 2, Check Yes or No. Just love that tune. It's hard to turn it down. And number 1 for me, Troubadour. Unbelievable. Great song. Great meaning. I'll be honest with you, that's probably a song I won't play at my funeral when I leave this world. Troubadour is great. So, that was very difficult. But Troubadour by George Strait gets the number 1 recognition as my favorite George Strait song. Next week, we're going to do Garth Brooks. In case anybody is curious, Garth will be next week's episode, or next week's music segment. All right, so, and that's a wrap for our show. We just about at 1 hour. Oh, I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all so much. We're going to close with our Bible verse, Acts 4:12. Neither is there salvation in any other, for there is no other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. Salvation through Jesus is amazing. There's nothing like it. There's no one else that you can find salvation in Christ. Point blank. Thank you, Jesus. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all checking out my show this week. We got double-digit viewers again. I'm very happy with that. I appreciate y'all checking out. Hopefully, I didn't bore you too much. We talk college football here every week, year-round. There really is no off season. We do take a break every once in a while, like we did after the national championship. But everybody needs a break, you know. Um, but thank y'all again. Shout out to Brandon Ode who made my intro and outro video. He is phenomenal. He has his show Football Frame of Mind. He does a great job. Um, love watching all the clips he shares and stuff. One of the best football minds there is. Thankful for him. And then of course Andrew at College Sports Villains, who brought me on over I think a year ago. I think it's been over a year. Appreciate him for all he done to get as he recruited me to do this. But I'm thankful for it and I'm glad to be here. Check out their show tonight, unless they do their show every Thursday night. They'll be talking sports and food like always. I think it's him, Vandy Chris, No Mercy Sports. I can't remember that guy's name, and a few other folks. But they're a phenomenal group. It's a phenomenal network. I'm so thankful that they've allowed me to be a little part of it with my little show. So wouldn't trade it for nothing. Thankful for those guys. Thankful for College Sports Villains. Um, Appreciate them. All right, guys. I'm gonna get out of here, and we'll see y'all next week. Garth Brooks songs will be the non-segment. If the custody battle over Louisiana Tech is settled between Conference USA and the Sun Belt, and their schedules come out, we'll do those. But if not, we will probably do our top 5 preseason coaches in the Big 12, ACC, and then quarterbacks. All right, guys. And if there's any big news, we'll talk about that too. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for checking us out. Be sure to follow me. I have Instagram. I have Twitter. I mean, not Twitter. I have Instagram. I do have a TikTok now too. Just look up Jonathan Wade Ramsey. This show's logo, 4th and 25, is the profile picture. Don't do a lot on there, but I'm going to try to start doing more on there. Appreciate you guys. Hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and may God bless.